Elden Ring is a game that needs really no introduction. I'm sure that every one of you watching this video knows what Elden Ring is at this point. The game has been out for roughly a year and a half now, and there have been countless videos made on the gameplay, the story, the history of the world, the characters, the music even. I'm sure all of you have seen maybe hundreds of videos talking about how great Elden Ring is, how amazing this game is, how it's one of the best games of all time, and it did in fact win Game of the Year last year. But I didn't like it. And I'm gonna tell you why. Don't hate me. We'll start here. I have never played a Souls game. Elden Ring is the very first Souls game that I've ever played, and I think that is the best decision because it's also one of the most accessible. I know that that is actually a bit of a hot topic when it comes to Elden Ring itself, is that it's maybe too easy, too welcoming, etc. I, however, did not get that impression. But before we get into the things I dislike, let's start off with a few of the positives. Just a quick side note, I should have way more footage of me playing this game, but I didn't know that that Xbox deletes your captures after 30 days. Like if you don't watch them. So I was saving like tons and tons of captures of me playing this game because I wasn't able to record it directly from my Xbox. So I was saving a bunch of captures and I would only watch like a couple of them just to see that they were there or whatever. And I would just kind of leave all the other ones. And it wasn't until a lot later when I went and looked in my library that I saw that like over half of my captures had been deleted, because if you don't watch them in 30 days, then Xbox will not save them, which I think is dumb. I think that's dumb, but that's a rant for another day. Back to the game. One of the first things that I noticed about Elden Ring was truly how beautiful the game is. I had no clue really what to expect. I hadn't really seen anything of this game, so when I started it, I was blown away by how pretty this game is. Yes, a lot of it is dark and dingy and very muted, but there's a beauty to that, and the designers of this game and the artwork did an amazing job at creating this very detailed environment. And I love looking at every single piece of this game. I love looking at it. It's so captivating. And in addition to just the overall look of the game, I did also quite enjoy most of the combat. And so at the beginning of the game, you know, I went through the tutorial and learned the combat, and I've got to say, the combat is also very addicting. It's very rewarding. It feels nice, and it feels fun. I had a lot of fun with it as well. And I do have like my favorites, like for example, the red lightning incantation is like my favorite thing in the entire world. I've beat multiple bosses with it, and I like spam that thing. I love spamming it. I'll put footage behind me right now of the Godskin duo fight, which I was dreading getting to because I saw clips of it, and I saw like a lot of people complain about it and say like it's so difficult, and it was difficult, but I absolutely bodied them. I figured out how to avoid the fat rolling thing, and again spam that red lightning, kill both of them at the same time. I felt so cool. Now I guess I'll put footage of me spamming it onto the Great Worm, which staggers him if you hit him enough times with it. I use the red lightning all the time. and I felt like I was doing pretty much everything correctly, and then I get to the part where you open the doors and you get to go outside into the lands between, and being able to see the Erd tree up in the sky and see this entire world set out before me. And I've never really been subjected to that kind of game design before, like a truly open world game, and I felt terrified. I didn't know what I was doing. All I really know is that Souls games are scary. They're scary. So I was being careful of literally every single spot I was stepping in. I expected to die at every corner, and to an extent, this game does deliver on that pretty well. And that would be where my positives end and my negatives begin.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
My experience with open world games. Really the most open world games that I've ever played is probably Assassin's Creed, which is not super open world. They're, big massive maps. You can pretty much go anywhere. You can do whatever you want. And from my experience of only playing JRPGs, which are pretty explanatory, and then playing games like Assassin's Creed, where literally everything is on the map. You cannot not know where anything is. You know where everything is because the game does not let you forget where anything is. And that's what I was used to. And so when I went to Elden Ring, I got incredibly frustrated with the whole system. I was so unbelievably frustrated with how the game tells you nothing. It got to a point where I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue where to go. I couldn't find where the next bit of story was, and I was so frustrated that I did end up quitting the game for a little bit, and I was like, this is stupid. It doesn't tell me anything. The map doesn't make that much sense. And what I was looking for, maybe a mini-map, a quest log, a objective marker, something where I knew I could go to this place and I knew that this is where I needed to be. But Elden Ring doesn't have something like that, and to me, I was so frustrated with that game design that I really thought about just quitting the entire game. Now, that didn't happen because at some point, I did end up getting to the castle where I was supposed to be. I did initiate the first main story boss of the game. When I got to the bridge right before Stormvale Castle, and you have to fight Margit, that fight is one of the hardest fights I have ever had to do in gaming ever. It took me weeks to beat Margit. I hadn't looked up really any strategies at this point because I'm not the kind of person that likes to look at strategies. I just kind of like to play the game myself, and if I get truly stuck, then I will Google something. However, I didn't look up anything for the Margit fight, so I was just kind of doing the best I could with things I was learning, different spirit summons. What are they called? Like the weapon arts? Like the sword arts or whatever, different magic spells, things like that. I was trying everything, and I could not beat this guy. It ended up, I wish I had the video of this, because I did video it, but like I said, Xbox deleted my captures. I did end up beating him, but it was like a 20-minute long fight, because I wasn't just not doing that much damage, but I had learned all of his attack patterns, and so I was dodging through them and attacking when I could, and it ended up being a really, really, really long fight. I have never felt as much frustration, as much anxiety, and anger to an extent for any video game fight ever I have ever played. But I got really frustrated with Margit, and at some point I decided I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I left. And I just kind of wandered around. I picked a direction and I wandered around. I went around to a lot of smaller locations, like some of the catacombs or the ruins. I went to those places a lot. I would just try and get to as many of those as I could on the map while I could not figure out where to go. And I would fight all of the enemies there, and I would fight those bosses, which they were a lot easier than some of the bigger bosses I had fought. That's not a word. Fought. But they didn't give me any sort of relief or sense of reward after I had defeated them, because it almost felt too easy. And I had always been told, like, oh, Souls games are hard. Oh, the whole reason we play them is because we get that high from beating a hard enemy, and I just wasn't getting that. So I thought that maybe this game is just made for people who can feel that type of way, and I just can't. I did not find the satisfaction in fighting a boss and winning. Maybe I'm just not the kind of person this game is made for. I thought this game is too hard. This game makes no sense. This game doesn't tell me anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I hated that game. But that changed when I beat Margit. Now, before you say that I clickbaited you, no, I did not, okay? The title only said half of the truth. I did not clickbait you. Anyways. After I defeated Margit, after that really long 20-minute fight where I was pissing myself on the edge of my seat, my stomach hurt, I was about to cry, and then I beat him. That was the first time I felt that sense of relief. And I understood. It all clicked in my head. I just suddenly knew immediately what all these people had been talking about, this like death cycle, and then the release from it. It felt so unbelievably gratifying. There's no other way I can explain it. I felt like I had just eaten the best food in the world. I felt like I had just eaten a buffet and then burped right after. You know that burp? You know what I'm talking about. When you eat food and you feel it hit your stomach and it gets all like tight in there and you have to like lean back. You gotta lean back in your seat and just breathe for a few minutes until that all that gas wells up in your stomach, and then it comes out and you have the most god-awful but also most blissful feeling burp of your entire life. That's what that felt like. And then I played through over 100 hours of that game. I'll also say that once I got into the game and everything, and I really like understood the combat and what I was doing, and I felt more capable than I was when I was beginning the game, I did find beating bosses to be like an actual challenge, and I had to think about like what to do, and I had a lot of fun like problem solving everything. And for as difficult and as of a pain playing this game can be sometimes, I'll also say that Elden Ring has given me the most hype battles I think I've ever played. Like this one, which is the fight with Rykard. This fight made me feel so badass. I had so much adrenaline. This fight to me is on par with the entire final battle sequence from Kingdom Hearts 2. Killing this guy was one of the most metal things I have ever done. I currently have not beat Elden Ring, but that's not because I don't want to play it, it's because my Xbox keeps crashing the game. And so until I get that whole situation fixed, I cannot finish Elden Ring. But and I don't remember what I watched. I got really frustrated, and I was watching Elden Ring videos like, I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? I don't remember who it was, but I watched a video where they said if you can beat Margit, you can beat any boss in the game. Them saying that completely changed my view of how I was playing this game. It gave me hope that if I could just beat this one boss, I know that I can beat the game. And I think that that is absolutely true. I haven't beaten Elden Ring, but I have completely fallen in love with how this game is designed, to the point that it has influenced how I play other games. For example,
Mickey! It's Riku! They put bugs in him! What?
I have also played and beaten Hogwarts Legacy. Now, before any of you come for me about the whole J.K. Rowling situation, I didn't play that game because I support her. I played that game because I like the world of Harry Potter, and it was actually a masterfully crafted RPG, and I support the Harry Potter universe. I don't support J.K. Rowling, and you can get over the fact that I played a game, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. I did play Hogwarts Legacy, and I did beat it, and that game also uses a mini-map. They give you the quest objective right above the mini-map, which you cannot turn off. I mean, you can turn it off, but it messes with other things, so I left it on. They give you objective markers in the world, and then they also give you a magic book that gives you a trail to follow to where you're supposed to go. It's very leading with you. It tells you where to go. It's very Apple Maps, you know? When I started playing that game, for the first time in my life, I got annoyed at how much there was on the screen. I ended up turning off the minimap. I ended up turning off the objective markers. I left the quest thing up because it messes with some other things if you don't turn it on. I did use the magic trail map, like book thing, because that was useful. And I don't remember if it had a compass or not. If it had a compass, then I turned it off. I don't remember. I don't remember what comes default in Hogwarts Legacy because I turned so much of it off. To me, it wasn't necessary. It was like doing too much. I needed it to get off my screen because it was annoying me. Contrast that to one of my friends who has not played Elden Ring, but has played Hogwarts Legacy and also Assassin's Creed and the first Kingdom Hearts game. He liked all of that, all of the hand-holding, because to him, it's annoying and frustrating to not be told exactly where to go and what to do. That was one of the things that he got frustrated with about Kingdom Hearts 1, which I will admit, that game is the worst about not telling you what to do, and there were plenty of times that I got lost or had to Google what to do next because I couldn't figure out what to do. So I will admit that game probably needed a little bit more hand-holding, but they fixed that for the rest of the series. But he thought it was weird that I had turned off so much stuff because to him I was making the game more difficult for myself. When in reality, now that I've played so much of Elden Ring and I've experienced that kind of design, I find it more difficult to have all of this stuff cluttering the screen. It kind of ruins the experience for me. After over 100 hours in Elden Ring, I can safely say that Elden Ring is a masterpiece of a game, and I love it a huge amount, and it's one of the best games I have ever played. But for those first 20 to 30 hours, I absolutely hated it. And for a newcomer like me, I would like to know if that's a common experience or not. because I know that Elden Ring is the Souls game that has had the most new players since probably the beginning of the series. And I just want to know if that's something that other people have also experienced, that they hated this game for a really long time towards the beginning because the combat's too hard, the game's too big, I don't know where I'm supposed to go and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but then after sticking with it, ended up falling in love with it to the point where now the games that they used to be really comfortable with are now annoying. I want to know if that's common or not. And to those of you who were like me at the start of that game and hated it and couldn't get yourselves to get that far into it, I would say try again, because there is truly something special there. And if you let yourself be okay with being frustrated and not knowing what to do and just not getting it, but if you put the time to try and understand it, I promise you that it's one of the best experiences that you will ever have. And that's coming from someone who was a hater. So, you can trust me.
Oh, now we gotta go? Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Help me! Wake the fuck up! Goodbye now! Sleep Bessie!
You've got to be kidding.
Oh, now we gotta go?
No. Wait.
Fuck you! I hate you!